Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's Curtis. Thanks for joining me today. The market came back a little bit, climbing up with the semiconductors. The stocks climbing up quite a bit. Micron looked decent today. Marvell crushed it today. VRT crushed it, right? We're going to cover Micron today because I know you all love Micron, right? In my other videos for today, I'm going to go ahead and cover Marvell. I'm going to cover Nokia. I'm going to cover VRT as well, but they are going to be on separate videos. This one's going to be specifically on Micron, and if that's what you're looking for, this one's for you. I'm going to go ahead and cover some technicals. I'm going to cover the RSI momentum. I'm going to cover the volume. I'm going to cover the moving average. I'm going to screen some of the semiconductor stocks as well to see how the volume are looking for the future. So let's go ahead and move right into it. We got Micron right here. 1 month view. They started to climb up a little bit after the earnings call, crushed it during the earnings call, of course. You all know that already, right? This is the 5-day outlook. This was the earnings call gap up right there. Looking pretty darn good. Went all the way up to the about 1230-ish range. Now back down to 1145-ish as of right now during after hours market. Right here says what's happening with Micron, MU. Micron Technology has experienced a remarkable 301% surge in stock price year to date, primarily driven by strong demand for AI memory products. Analysts are increasingly optimistic, raising earnings estimates significantly, while a new lawsuit regarding price fixing adds a layer of complexity to the narrative. So, wow, that's something that we got to keep our eye on, right? Is that lawsuit right there? Because, of course, it sounds like Micron has so much pricing power right now that there's going to be some complexity there, and there's some issues right there with some of these other businesses. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into the technical indicators. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up the advanced chart right here, and I'm going to show you all how to set it up for the RSI first. Okay, so we've got this 5-day view. The way to pull up the technical indicator, okay, is if you hover over this right here, it says indicators. You just go ahead and search up RSI, and this is going to be a 14-day RSI. It's going to be color black. The overbought, we'll just set it as the default 80 overbought and 20 oversold. Click done, and it's down here, right? So if you can tell, right, it's at about 42 right now. The 14-day RSI 42. That means that momentum's actually going down towards the lower end. It's been hovering around the 50-ish range, so that means that it's consolidating essentially. If you take a look at this right here, okay, I mean there's been some exhaustion after the gap up with the earnings call, and now there's some exhaustion, some profit taking exhaustion, and then we've got some consolidating, and we'll see how that moves Micron maybe to a higher high. We'll see how that turns out. That's what we want to know, right? Now we're going to go ahead and add the moving average onto it. So I've already got moving average right here. They've got the simple and the exponential, which they say that the exponential is going to be a little bit more accurate in the time range. So we'll go ahead and do the EMA. That's what they call it, the EMA. But we'll go ahead and do a 8-day because we want to look at something that's going to be closer for these parabolic stocks. Of course, if you're looking at a long range of time with moving averages, you're talking about if you're doing a 50-day, a 200-day, right, for these parabolic stocks like Micron. I mean, you're not going to capture what's actually really happening within the recent time. So we're going to set up for an 8-day. It's going to be color red. If you click done, that's this line right here. And then I'm going to set up another one for a 21-day. And we'll go ahead and set that one up as a lighter red, or it's a pinkish right there. So this is it right here. What you want to know is when the 8-day is actually going to be surpassing the 21-day, and that shows that it's got momentum. And then of course on top of that, if you take a look like right here, okay, in this area, if the price is on top of the 8-day and the 21-day, that means that of course it's got a lot of momentum and it's moving, and that explains this move right here. Of course, this is only for a 1-day, but then you can kind of get a read and a gauge throughout the entire week, as we've got this on a 5-day view right now. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and zoom into a 1-day, and we'll see how that looked today, right? We've got the stock. It seems like it's consolidating. It was a good day today. It continued to have good momentum, climbing upwards. And then, of course, we have the If you take a look, for the most part, right, we've got the 8-day moving average. It's on top of the 21-day moving average. So there's pretty good momentum. And then, of course, the price is higher than that 8-day moving average as well. So that looks pretty good for today. I would expect to see a good move tomorrow by Micron. I'm not sure if it's going to be a strong move, but we're going to find out. And one thing you want to check with Micron, okay, to confirm all this is actually the momentum. And so the way you look at the momentum is if you go onto Micron, you click on historical data, it'll pull up the volume and price action. Okay, so in fact, it already has for today, June 30th, up. And see, boom, right there, right? The volume was only at 29 million. That is going to be less than the past, week, 10 days of trading already. If you take a look from the 17th right here, okay, you've got 46 million, 60 million, 50 million, 60 million, 80 million. And as you can tell, right, when it hit 80 million, take a look at the close. Okay, it jumped from 1,000 to 1,200, 86 million. That means 1,100, 60 million, 1,145. Now we've got half the volume, and it closed a little bit higher than yesterday's close. What does that tell you? Essentially, that just tells you that, like, there is not as many shares being traded, and so the buyers are buying right now, which pushed the price up a little bit. But is it going to be a confirmed momentum? And if you think about it, with half the volume, it's not really a confirmed momentum. So that's something for you to keep your eyes on. And then on top of that, if you take a look right after hours, this is the sentiment right here. It's it's dropping back down already after the 1154 jump of $9 today. So something to keep in mind. That's Micron's performance for you today. Now, one thing that I wanted to check as well as the SOX, right? SOXX, the semiconductors ETF has jumped up a lot. Right here, I pulled up under the research and under the screeners. Okay, I'll show you all how to set this up one day. But for now, I've got it pulled up already. What I did was I filtered it out for the average 3 months volume in this sector, the technology semiconductor sector, right? As you can tell, we've got NVIDIA, Intel, Micron, AMD, etc. And if you can tell, right, we've got the 3 months average volume, 160 for NVIDIA. They only traded 80 today. Intel, 130 million average. They only traded 80 million today. Micron, 52, only traded 29. So as you can tell, you go down the list, it's probably because it's going to be a short week. Okay, so Friday with July 4th happening, they're not going to be open up for a market session. And then on top of that, I mean, there's a lot of these investors, institutional investors, already on vacation. On top of that, right, there might be a sense of fearfulness. Who knows? Sense of fearfulness, and they don't want to trade too much during a short week going into July 4th. That's probably one reason why the volume is at this range right now. So not a lot of trading right now during the holiday week. Something to keep in mind if you want to find out if these stocks are going to continue to go ahead and consolidate and grind and push higher. Take a look at the momentum for tomorrow, the volume, right? Kind of gauge it out. See how things look in the early mornings. If momentum is, picking up fast. What I mean by that, okay, is if the average volume is 160 for NVIDIA, all right, in a, 1-day trading session. But in the first hour, it's already jumped up to about, 30, 40 million, a big portion of the average. That means that it's going to have a lot of momentum. And then, of course, if the price is going up, that means that the momentum's going up, being profitable. But then, of course, if the price is coming down with a lot of volume already, that means that there's a sell-off. So those are some things that you should keep in mind, okay? So that's all I got for you guys. Micron had a decent day today, jumped up $9, about almost 1% right there, 0.75%. Of course, it's dropping. It's lost a little bit of what it's picked up today already, but that doesn't mean that the market's bad or the semiconductors are bad. If you take a look at the stocks, it's looking pretty good right now. That ETF that covers the semiconductors, NVIDIA, Micron, AMD, Marvell, they're looking pretty good right now. So the sentiment is decent. We'll see how that turns out tomorrow, but I wanted to give you guys a reading of the moving averages, a reading of the RSI, a reading of the volume, just to give you a gauge of where Micron stands right now. If you've got any questions, right, drop it into the comments. I'll help you out there. If you like this video, click that like for me. And then, of course, if you enjoy my videos, go ahead and help me out by clicking that subscribe button, okay? My name's Curtis. Thank you for joining, and I will see you next time.